Hi, my name is Reva Siebold, and I'm here to support all of us who are feeling wiped out, overwhelmed by the election results this week. And I'd like to support you in coming to terms and being with what's going on in your body and your mind right now. I'd like to use something called the Sedona method, which is a way of opening to what's here, allowing what's here to be here, and then let it move through. So the anger, rage, disgust, disappointment, fear that many of us are feeling are totally legitimate because that's what we're feeling. And what I'd like to do in this video is to support you in feeling those feelings and allowing them to move through and to get to what's underneath, which is the sense of well-being that's always there, but often we can't reach because we're too involved in what our mind says might happen. So this in mind, I'd like to start asking you some very simple questions about how you're feeling. And there are no wrong answers. Whatever answer comes up is the right answer because that's what you're feeling or thinking. This method tends to notice stories but not dwell on them a lot. So if a long story comes up, just sort of sit with it and go to the center of it. So let's start by asking, could you open up? Could you allow yourself to feel that all you're feeling right now in your body, the thoughts that you're having, the emotions you're having about the election that just passed? Just allow what's ever here to be here, including the resistance to what's ever here. So just open again. Open means just allow it to be here. And could you let it go? Could you, like this pen, just let it go? Have you ever let go of anything in your life before? We all have, so it's possible. So could you, is it possible to let what you're feeling go? And would you let it go? Are you willing to let go? It can only be just a little bit. And when? When is an invitation to do it now? Many of us have a belief that if somehow we let go of the grief about a loss or the anger about something that's happened, that somehow we then agree with what happened. This isn't about that. This is about acknowledging what you're feeling and then letting it move through so that you can move to the next feeling and move to whatever's coming up and be freed up to be all that you are. So could you open again to whatever you're feeling about this week's election in the United States? And if there's one particular emotion or two that jump out at you, could you open to those emotions? Just allow yourself to feel them and feel your resistance to them. And could you let that go? Is it possible? Would you let it go? Are you willing to? And when? Again, an invitation to do it now. So just notice what's here, if it's changed, if it's different, and just open again to what's here. For me, sometimes I feel like I want to throw up. Sometimes I feel rage. Sometimes I feel sorrow. Sometimes I feel great thoughts about all the things that might happen. All of those, whatever's here. Anger. And then could you let some of that go? Are you willing to let some of that go? Would you? And when? Again, invitation to do it now. And if you have any expectations about all the things that might happen under the new presidency, could you open to those? Expectations are thoughts from the past experience put onto the future. So could you let go of those expectations? Is it possible? Would you let them go? And when? The expectations may or may not happen, but if we spend all our time between now and then worrying about them, then we're just feeling terrible for a reason that may or may not happen. So you've got emotions, you've got expectations. Could you welcome any belief systems you have about why what happened happened, why it's going to happen something in the future? Any belief systems you have about this election, and just choose any one of them. And could you let your attachment to that belief system? Doesn't mean the belief system is true or not true. It's just when you're making yourself sick because you're attached to an idea that's just an idea, then it becomes hard to be present because you're in too much distress. So could you let go of your attachment to those belief systems? Would you let go? And when? It's our emotions that hold things together. The beliefs come out of the emotions. The emotions come from experience. They're obviously not thoughts, they're emotions. So often it's really helpful to let go of the emotions because in letting go of fear or anger or rage, you're letting go of all the things connected to fear and anger and rage. So could you welcome again any emotions you might have about what happened in the last week in the election? And would you let go of those emotions? The fly flying around is more interesting than me. And when would you let go of those emotions? Another thing that comes up around experiences like this past week is the wanting to control the outcome. So could you welcome any wanting to control that's happening for you? Wanting to control what happens in the future, wanting to control the process, wanting to control the relevant personalities. A lot of times wanting control feels good because at least we can seize on something. But the wanting creates a lot of pain and distress because when we're wanting, we're not feeling what we do have already as control. So could you welcome any wanting control that you might be feeling? Just allow yourself to really want it. Even if it's ridiculous, like turning back the clock. And could you let go of some of the wanting, not the control, but the wanting? Would you let it go? And when? And just check in inside, just how you're feeling right now about the election. You're feeling lighter, feeling the same? Is it shifted to other experiences? And check in your body and see if there's any sensations going on there that come up when you talk or think about the election. And could you welcome, open to those physical sensations? For me, it's a headache. And could I let go of those sensations or my attachment to those sensations? Have I ever let go of any feeling before? And would you let go? Are you willing to let go? And when? Sensations may leave or not, but at least our attachment and a way we worry those sensations can be gone by releasing. So again, could you welcome any sensations you have, physical sensations, when you think about this past week? And could you let them go? Is it possible? Only need a little possibility. And would you let them go? Would you be willing to? And when? And again, notice how you are. I'm going to ask you another set of questions called welcoming. And just, you don't have to let go, just open and welcome what's here when I ask the question. So could you open to whatever is left about the campaign, the election? And could you let that go? Is it possible? But more importantly, just welcome it, because by welcoming it, you don't have to let it go. It just goes on its own by welcoming it. And then, is there any wanting to do anything about it? Fix it, change it, make a difference? Could you open to all you're wanting to do something about what happened? Just allow yourself to feel it, whatever comes up, resistance, whatever. And lastly, is there any sense that this election has to do with you or who you are? The sense that it's personal. You identify with it. And could you welcome all that sense of identification of being American or however it comes for you? In all of these, when any resistance comes up, just welcome the resistance. Resistance sort of acts like a dam so that nothing can move. And if you welcome the resistance, you'll notice that things can move again. So could you welcome all the resistance you have to everything that's happening or happened? Just notice how that feels. And lastly, could you consider the possibility that all is actually well, even though you don't understand why? It's just our mind that tells us otherwise. It wants to know how it's well, why it's well. Just open to the possibility that all is actually well. Sounds hard right now, but just open to that possibility. So I hope these releases have been helpful to all of you that are struggling with what's happening. And I send you peacefulness and quiet and the freedom that can come by letting go of our attachments through our ideas and our beliefs and our emotions. Thank you.